From unassuming sedans to station wagons with supercar power, here are 15 of the sneakiest speed demons of the modern era. Let's get into it. 15th, Volkswagen Golf R32, 2003 to 2008. Starting the list with a sleeper that wasn't just about raw power. Sometimes a car surprises you simply by being way more capable than it looks. That's exactly the case with the Volkswagen Golf R32, 2003 to 2008. Back in the early 2000s, Volkswagen decided the GTI needed a big brother. Enter the R32, a 3.2-liter VR6-powered AWD hot hatch. With 250 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time under 6 seconds, it was one of the quickest Golfs ever made at the time. It also introduced Volkswagen's DSG dual-clutch transmission, a first in a production car. But here's where things got interesting. The R32 looked, well, like any other Golf. Sure, it had subtle badging, twin tailpipes, and a slightly beefier stance, but to most people, it was just another commuter car. That's what made it such a sleeper. Nobody expected it to outrun sports coupes on a twisty road. However, it wasn't perfect. It was heavier than a GTI, making it less agile in tight corners. Plus, that VR6 guzzled fuel like a V8. And while DSG was revolutionary, early versions had reliability issues. Still, the R32 laid the groundwork for today's Golf R, proving that small cars can hide big performance. But if you think this is the only hatchback on the list, think again. 14. Volvo V70 R, 2004 to 2007. Hot hatches aren't the only way to hide serious performance. Sometimes the most unassuming cars come in the form of a family station wagon. That brings us to the Volvo V70 R, a car that looked like a school-run special but packed 300 horsepower under the hood. Volvo has never been known for making wild performance cars, but in the early 2000s, they decided to shake things up. The V70R came with a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-5, an advanced all-wheel drive system, and a 6-speed manual option, a rarity for wagons. The result? 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, all while keeping the classic, boxy Volvo styling. But what really made it special was the suspension. The V70R featured a 4-mode adjustable suspension system co-developed with Öhlins, a feature usually reserved for high-end sports cars. It meant this wagon could handle far better than anyone expected. Of course, it had its downsides. The AWD system wasn't the most durable, the automatic transmission was sluggish, and maintenance could be expensive. Still, the V70R proved that Volvo wasn't afraid to make something exciting, and it wouldn't be the last time they did it. 13. Chevrolet SS, 2014 to 2017. A high-performance Volvo wagon is unexpected. But what about a 4-door Chevy that looks like a rental car and drives like a muscle car? That's exactly what the Chevrolet SS brought to the table. A plain-looking sedan hiding a 6.2-liter V8 under the hood. If the SS doesn't ring a bell, there's a reason. It was essentially a rebadged Holden Commodore, an Australian performance sedan that Americans never really got to experience. With 415 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, and an available 6-speed manual, this thing was basically a 4-door Corvette in disguise. The best part? It looked completely ordinary. No massive wings, no aggressive vents, just a simple, clean sedan that could do 0 to 60 in around 4 seconds. It even came with magnetic ride control, the same suspension tech found in high-end sports cars, making it a fantastic sleeper both in a straight line and around corners. So why isn't it more well-known? Poor marketing and a high price tag meant it never sold well. Plus, most people mistook it for a Malibu. But for those who knew what it was, the SS was one of the best sleeper sedans ever made. Just wait to find out how GM sneaks a muscle car engine into something unexpected again. 12th, Ford Taurus SHO, 2010 to 2019. The Chevrolet SS wasn't the only sleeper sedan to fly under the radar. Around the same time, Ford had its own unassuming powerhouse, the Taurus SHO, a full-size family car with a secret under the hood. Ford first introduced the SHO super high output badge in the late 80s. But by 2010, it had evolved into something much different. Instead of a high-revving Yamaha-built engine, the modern SHO packed a 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost V6, pushing out 365 horsepower to all four wheels. That meant 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, making it one of the quickest sedans in Ford's lineup. It wasn't just about straight-line speed either. The AWD system provided solid traction, and with the optional performance package, the SHO gained upgraded brakes, a sportier suspension, and a more aggressive tune. But despite all that, it still looked like a regular Taurus, just a bit sleeker. Of course, it had downsides. At 4,300 pounds, it was heavy, and the 6-speed automatic felt outdated compared to rivals. Plus, it never got the respect of its V8-powered competition. But the SHO proved that Ford could make a serious performance sedan, and it wouldn't be the last time they surprised everyone with a sleeper. If you love discovering hidden performance beasts, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on more underrated machines. There's plenty more sleeper heat coming your way. 11. Volvo V60 Polestar 2015. Ford showed that a full-size family sedan could pack serious power with the Taurus SHO, but the 2015 Volvo V60 Polestar would enter if you needed that speed and something even more practical. It's a station wagon that defied every expectation of what a Volvo could be. Volvo isn't the first name that comes to mind for high-performance cars, but Polestar, the brand's racing division, had other plans. The 2015 V60 Polestar took Volvo's safe, practical image and added a serious dose of speed. Under the hood, it packed a turbocharged and supercharged 3-liter inline-six, producing 345 horsepower and sending power to all four wheels. That meant a 0 to 60 time of just 4.9 seconds, faster than most sports sedans at the time. But raw speed wasn't the only highlight. The V60 Polestar featured Öhlins dampers, massive Brembo brakes, and a performance-tuned chassis, making it surprisingly sharp through the corners. It still retained all the Volvo trademarks: plush seats, a well-built interior, and advanced safety tech, making it an everyday sleeper that could handle a track day. The downside, it was expensive, priced dangerously close to faster German rivals. Plus, the 6-speed automatic felt outdated compared to newer dual-clutch transmissions. Still, as one of the rarest performance wagons of the era, the V60 Polestar remains a hidden gem. And speaking of rare sleepers, the next one is even more unexpected. 10. Audi S8 D4 2012 to 2018. Lexus showed the world that luxury and performance could go hand in hand. But Audi took that concept to another level with the D4 generation Audi S8, a full-size executive sedan hiding a monster under the hood. At first glance, the S8 looked like any other high-end Audi, a sleek, understated four-door with premium materials and all the tech you'd expect. But beneath that polished exterior sat a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, cranking out 520 horsepower, or 605 horsepower in the Plus model. Thanks to quattro all-wheel drive and a lightning-fast 8-speed automatic, it could rocket from 0 to 60 in just 3.8 seconds, outrunning some supercars while keeping its passengers in complete comfort. Unlike its rivals, the S8 wasn't just about brute force. It packed adaptive air suspension, meaning it could glide over rough roads or firm up for aggressive driving at the press of a button. And since it looked nearly identical to a standard A8, most people never saw it coming. Would you rather have this stealthy powerhouse or something flashier that screams performance? Drop a comment and let me know what you think. But all that power came at a price. Repairs weren't cheap, and with so much tech, long-term reliability was a gamble. Still, it proved that luxury could be deceptively fast. And speaking of understated powerhouses, 9. Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG 2003 to 2006. The Audi S8 proved that a luxury sedan could be brutally quick, but Mercedes had already been perfecting that formula for years. This is where E55 AMG comes in, a car that looked like an executive's daily driver, but packed enough power to humble sports cars. Mercedes took the W211 E-Class, a comfortable and unassuming midsize sedan, and stuffed a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 under the hood. The result? 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque sent to the rear wheels through a 5-speed automatic. That meant 0 to 60 in just 4.3 seconds, making it one of the fastest sedans of its time. The E55 wasn't just about straight-line speed either. It had an upgraded suspension, larger brakes, and a sportier chassis to keep it composed at high speeds. Yet from the outside, it looked nearly identical to a regular E-Class, aside from subtle badging and quad exhaust tips. But while it was a beast on the road, it wasn't perfect. The supercharged engine generated a ton of heat, leading to reliability concerns. And like most AMGs of the era, maintenance wasn't cheap. Still, it laid the groundwork for Mercedes' high-powered sleepers. And if you thought this was fast, just wait. 8. Cadillac CTS-V Wagon, 2011 to 2014. The E55 AMG proved that luxury sedans could be downright menacing. But what if you needed even more practicality without sacrificing power? That's where the Cadillac CTS-V Wagon steps in, a high-performance sleeper disguised as a family hauler. At a time when wagons were fading from the American market, Cadillac made one of the wildest performance cars ever. It packed a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 from the Corvette ZR1, producing 556 horsepower and 551 pound-feet of torque. That meant 0 to 60 in just 4 seconds, faster than most muscle cars. And unlike anything else in its class, you could get it with a 6-speed manual transmission, making it a unicorn among high-performance wagons. It wasn't just about speed. The CTS-V wagon handled remarkably well, thanks to magnetic ride control, massive Brembo brakes, and a balanced chassis. And since it looked like a slightly aggressive station wagon, most people never saw it coming. But that power came with trade-offs. The LSA engine was thirsty, and repairs weren't cheap. Plus, its rarity means finding one today isn't easy. Still, it was proof that America could make a wagon that was as ridiculous as it was practical. But if you think this was bold, just wait until you see what's next. 7. 2019 Toyota Camry XSE V6. The Cadillac CTS-V wagon was a rare mix of muscle car power and family hauling practicality. But not everyone looking for a sleeper wants a supercharged V8 and rear-wheel drive. Some just want a car that blends in completely, something no one would ever suspect of being quick. That's exactly what the 2019 Toyota Camry XSE V6 delivered. For years, the Camry was known for reliability, not speed. But Toyota quietly slipped a 3.5-liter V6 under the hood of the XSE model, producing 301 horsepower. That meant 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds, faster than some classic sports cars. The 8-speed automatic kept shifts smooth, and the sport-tuned suspension gave it an edge in handling over the standard Camry. Even the design was a departure from Toyota's usual conservative styling, with a more aggressive front grille and quad exhaust tips hinting at its hidden potential. It wasn't without flaws. The front-wheel drive layout led to noticeable torque steer under hard acceleration, and despite its sportier look, most people still saw it as just another Camry. But for those who wanted a fast, reliable sedan without drawing any attention, the XSE V6 was the perfect under-the-radar option. And the next car takes the idea of a sleeper to an even more unexpected level. Number 6, BMW M550i xDrive 2018 to present. Do you prefer old-school V8 power wrapped in a business suit? Then the BMW M550i xDrive is the way to go. Unlike the full-blown M5, the M550i flies under the radar. It looks like any other executive sedan, but under the hood sits a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 pumping out 523 horsepower. With BMW's xDrive all-wheel drive system, this sleeper rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.6 seconds, quicker than some supercars from a decade ago. Strengths? It's the ultimate dual-purpose machine. The suspension is tuned for comfort, yet it can carve corners with surprising agility. The interior is all luxury, featuring premium leather, a high-tech infotainment system, and enough sound insulation to make it whisper quiet at highway speeds. But it has its drawbacks. The steering feels a bit numb, lacking the sharpness of the M5. It's also heavier, making it less engaging on twisty roads. And while it's fast, BMW electronically limits the top speed, so you won't be chasing down Autobahn records without a tune. Still, for those who want speed without shouting about it, the M550i is the perfect under-the-radar menace. Want more cars that pack serious power without the flashy looks? Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more underrated beasts that deserve a spot on your radar. You won't believe what's coming next. Up next, a car that takes sleeper to a whole new level. 2021 Genesis G73.3T. The BMW M550iX Drive proved that luxury and performance could go hand in hand, but not everyone wants to pay a premium for a German badge. That's where the 2021 Genesis G73.3T comes in, a car that delivers serious speed while flying under the radar. Genesis, Hyundai's luxury division, has been shaking up the industry, and the G73.3T is one of its most underrated models. Under the hood sits a twin turbocharged 3.3-liter V6 making 365 horsepower, sending power to the rear or all four wheels. The result? A 0 to 60 time of just 4.5 seconds, putting it in the same league as more expensive European sports sedans. The chassis is well balanced, and with an available limited slip differential and adaptive suspension, it's surprisingly capable in the corners. However, it's not perfect. The 8-speed automatic, while smooth, lacks the crispness of some rivals, and the interior, while well-equipped, doesn't quite match the refinement of BMW or Audi. But does that really matter when you're getting this level of performance at a fraction of the price? Despite its flaws, the G73.3T remains an incredible sleeper, delivering power far beyond what most expect from a luxury sedan with a Genesis badge. That one's a beast in disguise, and we're only getting hotter from here. If you're enjoying the list so far, hit that like and subscribe. The top 5 total monsters. The next car proves that even the most practical vehicles can hide a serious performance streak. For 2022 Cadillac CT-V Blackwing. The Genesis G73.3T showed that a well-balanced sports sedan doesn't need a German badge to be taken seriously. But what if subtlety wasn't just a design choice? It was a calculated deception? Enter the 2022 Cadillac CT-V Blackwing, a car that blends luxury with raw, unfiltered power in a way that few would expect. At first glance, it could pass as a standard luxury sedan, but beneath the surface is a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 churning out 668 horsepower. That makes it not only the most powerful Cadillac ever made, but also one of the last great manual transmission performance sedans. Unlike its European rivals, which have gradually moved away from old-school muscle, the Blackwing fully embraces it. Rear-wheel drive, thunderous exhaust, and a chassis tuned for both the street and the track. Magnetic ride control keeps it sharp through corners, and massive Brembo brakes ensure it can stop as brutally as it accelerates. But all that firepower comes at a cost. It's not the easiest car to manage in bad weather, and despite Cadillac's best efforts, the Blackwing's aggressive stance might still raise a few eyebrows. Even so, for those who want a true driver's car hidden in plain sight, this one delivers. And up next, a car that takes the sleeper concept in a whole new direction. 3. Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid 2017 to present. The Charger Hellcat Red-Eye was a showcase of brute supercharged force, yet there's a way to push performance even further without sacrificing efficiency. That's where the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid steps in, a sleeper that doesn't just shock with speed, but reshapes the very idea of performance. Porsche introduced the Panamera in 2009 as its take on a high-performance luxury sedan. But by 2017, the Turbo SE Hybrid took things to another level. Combining a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 with an electric motor, It produces a monstrous 690 horsepower and 641 pound-feet of torque. This plug-in hybrid rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.0 seconds, quicker than many supercars, while still offering an electric-only mode for silent cruising. The strengths? It's blisteringly fast, yet practical enough for everyday use. The adaptive air suspension keeps the ride smooth, and the high-tech interior reminds you this is still a luxury sedan. Plus, the hybrid system isn't just for efficiency, it provides instant torque, making acceleration almost instantaneous. The flaws? At nearly 5,300 pounds, it's heavy, and while the hybrid system is impressive, it adds complexity and cost. But if you think this is the wildest hybrid sleeper out there, the next one might change your mind. 2. 2023 Lexus LS 500. The Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid proved that electrification and blistering performance could coexist. But what if a sleeper didn't need aggressive styling or a big-name badge to turn heads? The 2023 Lexus LS 500 is the definition of under-the-radar luxury, packing unexpected power beneath its elegant exterior. Lexus introduced the LS in 1989 to challenge German flagships, and while it built a reputation for refinement, the latest LS 500 brings something extra: a twin turbocharged 3.4-liter V6 pushing out 416 horsepower. Paired with a 10-speed automatic, it moves with surprising urgency, hitting 60 miles per hour in just 4.6 seconds. Unlike most performance-focused sedans, the LS 500 doesn't try to be loud or brash. It stays whisper quiet thanks to its meticulous sound insulation. The ride is smooth, the cabin is lined with handcrafted materials, and the tech is cutting edge, making it one of the most comfortable ways to go fast without attracting attention. Of course, it's not perfect. The infotainment system can be frustrating, and despite its power, it's not as sharp in corners as its rivals. But for those who want effortless speed wrapped in luxury, the LS 500 delivers. And coming up next, a sleeper that redefines what a high-performance sedan can be. 1. 2024 Toyota Crown Platinum. Here we are, number 1. After a lineup of brutally fast sedans, wagons, and sleepers that defy expectations, it all leads to this: the 2024 Toyota Crown Platinum, a high-riding sedan that looks like a crossover but hides a serious punch. The Crown name has been around since the 1950s, but this latest version is unlike anything before it. Underneath its bold design sits a 2.4-liter turbocharged hybrid powertrain producing 340 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. With standard all-wheel drive in a direct-shift 6-speed automatic, the Crown Platinum launches from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.7 seconds, quick enough to surprise anyone expecting another ordinary Toyota. The adaptive suspension ensures a smooth ride, while the premium interior, complete with a 12.3-inch touchscreen and ventilated leather seats, makes it feel more like a Lexus than a traditional Toyota. However, its styling is divisive. Some see it as futuristic, while others aren't sure if it's a sedan, SUV, or something in between. The trunk space is also smaller than expected, and while it's quick, it doesn't have the sharp handling of a true sports sedan. But for those who want stealthy performance with a touch of luxury, the Crown Platinum is an unexpected contender. The 2000s to today have given us some of the most unassuming beasts on the road. Cars that blend in but pack a serious punch where it counts. But trust us, the sleeper game didn't start here. Some of the most jaw-dropping, undercover performance machines came long before this era. Want to see where it all began? Check out our next video on sleeper cars from the 60s and 70s. You won't believe what made the list. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep hunting for those hidden powerhouses. See you in the next one.